Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Catch, Hook, and Shoot. Today is Sunday, October the 6th. My name's Tom. I just realized last week I don't introduce myself at the beginning of every show, which is, kind of counterproductive here. I want you guys to know my name. I want you to know who you're listening to or who you're watching. And like I said, my name's Tom. Hope everybody's enjoying the show. Hope you're checking it out on Spotify, on YouTube, Podbean, Google Play, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast from. Hope everybody is subscribing. If you're on a platform that allows you to leave reviews or anything like that, I hope you leave me a good one. Still trying to grow the show into something bigger, so I hope you're letting your friends know about it. And feel free to leave me any feedback. Drop me an email, catchhookshoot@gmail.com. Or if you're following on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, drop me a comment or anything like that there. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, anything you'd like to see me talk about on the show. I'd definitely welcome any and all feedback, as long as it's, constructive. If you don't like the show, let me know what you don't like about it and what you'd like to see change. Or if you do like the show, let me know what is it that you like about it? What can I do better? What would you like to see more of? That kind of thing. So anyway, let's get down to it this week. The WWE Super Showdown was yesterday. Don't know how many of you guys got up at 4 or 5 in the morning to check it out. I tried. I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning Chicago time, and honestly just couldn't stay awake for it. So I ended up watching it on demand at later on in the day. I thought for what it was a good show. I mean, and when I say for what it was, it was basically a very large scale, like WrestleMania size wise, house show is what it was. I mean, WWE doesn't go to Australia very often, for obvious reasons. The travel is just grueling there and back, for just a couple of shows. So, it definitely was a special attraction, especially for the people in Australia that got to see it live. According to the WWE, the attendance was over 70,000. So that's why I said it was basically a WrestleMania-sized house show. Wasn't really any big surprises or anything like that. Just advanced some storylines. He had one title change. Buddy Murphy is the new cruiserweight champ, which I think is pretty cool. Winning the cruiserweight title in his hometown, which is a little unusual. Traditionally, a wrestler will lose in his hometown. That's just usually the way it goes. But in this case, he did come away with the cruiserweight title, which well deserved. Buddy Murphy has had a huge resurgence in his career since moving over to 205 Live into the cruiserweight division. Of course, I'm sure a lot of you guys remember he was in NXT for a long time with Wesley Blake. They're a really good tag team. Alexa Bliss was their manager. They were NXT tag team champions. And then when Alexa got called up to the main roster, they just kind of fell off. They split them up as a team, had them in a little rivalry for a little bit, but neither of them really did too much individually. But now, like I said, Buddy Murphy has been on 205 Live. He's been thriving there. He's your new cruiserweight champ. And Wesley Blake is part of a new team in NXT called the Forgotten Sons, who I'm really liking. They just put them on TV within the last couple of weeks. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this team. So hopefully, it's going to be, I would think one of the bigger tag teams in NXT. I don't think it'll be too long before we see them in the title picture with teams like the War Raiders and Undisputed Era and things like that. Another interesting tidbit from Super Showdown. They're still teasing the Dean Ambrose turn with the Shield match. During the course of the match, Roman Reigns actually hit Dean Ambrose with the Superman punch, accidentally, of course. But they've been teasing a heel turn for Ambrose for the last couple of weeks. I'm hoping they don't pull the trigger on it just yet. I mean, they've been trying to get this Shield reunion going for over a year, but it seems like, somebody's always injured or something along those lines that kind of prevent it from happening. So it's just really been getting some traction the last few weeks since Ambrose came back from his injury. So I'm hoping they keep it going for at least a little while. I mean, according to the rumors out there, that was pretty much always the plan. You have the Shield reunion, Ambrose turns heel, and then it culminates in a triple threat match with all three members of the Shield at WrestleMania. Don't know if that's still the direction that they're going to go with that. I think I think that's something a lot of people would like to see. I think it'd be a great match with the three of these guys. So I'm hoping to hold off on the Ambrose turn a little while longer, at least maybe till like Survivor Series, and then from there you can start building into the Royal Rumble and through WrestleMania to have it have that triple threat match as kind of the blow off of like a three-way feud. I think would be really, really cool. Daniel Bryan is the new #1 contender for the WWE title. This was kind of a surprise. Defeated Miz in about 2 minutes at Super Showdown and didn't even hit him with any of his finishing moves or anything. He caught him in a small package, and that was that. Like I said, about a 2-minute match. And I was listening earlier to Wrestling Observer Radio. Bryan Alvarez was talking about it, and this was his just conjecture. He made that very clear. This is not fact. He didn't get this from anybody inside WWE. This is just kind of his take on it, and it's a sound theory. Last week on Smackdown, Bryan did take a pretty good blow to the head. He and Shelton Benjamin kind of cracked heads together. Now, obviously, he passed all the concussion protocols and everything because he has to go through those after every single match. It was a condition of his reinstatement, so he obviously passed. Otherwise, they wouldn't have even let him get on the plane to go to Australia. But what Alvarez said was, maybe WWE is kind of being a little overly cautious with Daniel Bryan, just to make sure, So they figured, just still have the match, but we're just going to make it a quick 2-minute match. You're going to get the quick pin, and that's it. Just to kind of have him, I guess, take it a little bit easy after a blow to the head like that. Like I said, it's a sound theory. That's all it is a theory. Bryan Alvarez made it very clear this is just his conjecture on the matter. But like I said, I think it's a sound theory. It's not, it makes sense. Put it that way. It makes sense. Don't know if that's actually the case, but it definitely is feasible. Besides that, Daniel Bryan will be challenging AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at Crown Jewel coming up in Saudi Arabia in November. That should be a fantastic match. I don't know if we'll see a title change or anything because, again, it will be, the shows like this, they are large-scale house shows is what they are. So I don't expect to see any huge surprises or big major title changes or anything like that at these kind of shows. But Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, that's going to be just a ridiculously good match, and I can't wait to see that one. Also, apparently at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, they're doing calling it the WWE World Cup. Apparently there's going to be some qualifying matches this week on SmackDown, probably on Raw, I would think, too, for this tournament. I guess that's going to be culminating at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Let's see, for the SmackDown Women's title, Becky Lynch retained her title over Charlotte via disqualification. That was a little bit of a surprise. That was not an expected ending. I figured it would, be... I figured Becky would retain. I figured it would be through some underhanded tactics, but I figured it would be like a pin. I didn't expect it to be a blatant disqualification like that. But, that was actually kind of a cool ending because you don't see a whole lot of that anymore from heels just blatantly getting themselves disqualified to hold on to their titles. That's something that's really, really kind of old school. It was kind of cool to see. And then progressing from that, there's going to be a rematch between these two on SmackDown. And this time, if Becky gets disqualified, she will lose the title. So it's, kind of a natural progression from here. And it's looking like they're making this a good, old-fashioned wrestling feud. I mean, they have the straight-up match. The heel champion intentionally gets herself disqualified. They move on to a match where a DQ means losing the title. I could see her possibly losing by a count out this time. Kind of a loophole there. She loses the match but still holds on to the title. From there, you maybe progress to like a lumberjack match, and that maybe breaks down to a no contest. You have 2 or 3 matches with really no clear-cut winner, without a clean finish or anything like that, and maybe it the big blow off of this one is a cage match at Evolution. I think that'd be a really good progression for this feud with Charlotte and Becky, and I think they could definitely pull it off. So we'll have to see how that one's going to play out, but I'm definitely interested to watch that one unfold. Main event of the Super Showdown was Triple H and The Undertaker. Was made a no DQ match at the last minute, of course, by Triple H. and Triple H did manage to take the victory in this one. And it was, I mean, you know, it was these two guys. They put on the best match that they could. I mean, let's face it, neither one of them is 25 years old anymore. You know, these guys have seen a lot of miles and everything. So, you know, you don't expect a 5-star wrestling clinic from these two particular wrestlers, but you expect them to go out there and give 100%, which both of them did. They put on a great match. You know, not as fast paced as it might have been 10 years ago from these two guys, but still a phenomenal match. The ending of the match I thought was great. Like I said, Triple H took the victory. There was the big, you know, the handshake and the hugs, and everybody's raising each other's hands at the end of the match with Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and Kane. And then Undertaker and Kane proceeded to just beat down Triple H and Shawn Michaels, which I thought was great. And you know, the rumor is that this is leading up to Shawn Michaels' in-ring return for at least a couple of matches. One of them more than likely will be against The Undertaker. I would think it would be at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Will probably be his big return to the ring. So we'll have to see. I'm sure we'll hear some more about that on Raw coming up tomorrow night. Another big announcement made today by the WWE concerning Smackdown 1000, the 1000th episode of Smackdown. Rey Mysterio is going to be there. So rumors are that he's signed a new contract with WWE. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years, what the rumor was saying, but looks like he will be back in the fold of WWE. So be interesting to see is he going to be on SmackDown? Is he going to, you know, maybe be on 205 Live? I can't see that being a permanent deal, but him making some appearances on 205 Live, I think, would definitely give a boost to the cruiserweight division, because that's really where Rey Mysterio kind of made his name, kind of paid all his dues in the business, was as a cruiserweight in WCW, and you know, didn't move up to the heavyweight ranks until he got to WWE. So it'd be really cool to see how they use him, because there's a lot of different, I could see a lot of different ways for him to make an impact in WWE right now. So it'll be really, really interesting to see where he ends up. Also, another thing, I don't remember if I mentioned this last week or not. I hope I did, but just in case I didn't, Neville has made his return to the ring. Of course, he was officially... his WWE contract was officially done a couple of weeks ago, and I believe it was last week or the week before, made his return to the ring at a Dragon Gate event, going back to his indie ring name of Pac. So it'll be great to see what he does on the indies. I mean, you know, obviously sky's the limit for him. I mean, he could end up in, you know, I could see him in Ring of Honor, MLW, Lucha Underground. I'd love to see him, you know, working with some of the guys that are in Lucha Underground or even in Impact Wrestling. So we'll have to see where he ends up. So that's it's pretty much the rundown of the big news for the week. Topic that I came up with for today's show is really something that I heard or I hear quite frequently on Jim Ross's podcast. He talks about certain guys. Says, you know, if I'm going to be starting my own wrestling company, you know, this person would be on my short list of guys that I would want, or things like that. So I got to thinking about, like, if I was to start a wrestling company, who would I want? Who would I want to build that company around? And I actually started, you know, putting some thought into it, and you know, sat down, came up with a little bit of a list here, and you know, this is really not a complete list by any means. I just figured, you know, who do I want my core people to be? Who am I going to build this company around? You know, to say, you know, who are going to be the people that are like the face of the company, the ones, you know, they're going to be my top ones, my main event players, you know, in my world title pictures and things like that. So basically what I've got here is a list of 5 men, 5 women, and 5 tag teams that, you know, to start off the company, like I said, to be the core of the company, to build the company around these people. You know, this is who I would want. And so like I said, it's definitely not an exhaustive list, because I mean, you need, you know, dozens of people. You need main eventers, you need mid-carders, you need tag teams, you need men, women, you know, you need primary championships, secondary championships, tag team titles. and things like that. So you need, dozens of people, literally. So, but, you figure most wrestling companies, they have a core of, 4 or 5 top wrestlers. And those are the ones that they kind of build their company around, and the ones that they want to have carry their company. Like, in the 80s, the WWE was built around Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Roddy Piper, and those were those were the guys that carried the company. Those were the faces of the WWE. Same thing like with WCW or the old NWA. The core of that company was Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Sting, Magnum TA, the Four Horsemen. You had that core group of guys that just they're the ones you put out there. Like, they're the ones whose names go on the marquee whenever you're having an event. And they're the ones who bring the crowd in, and really build your company up and take it to the level that you want it to be at. So I'm going to start off first of all with the 5 men that I would build my company around. And to me, these are the top 5 guys that I think would belong in the title picture pretty consistently, and would draw in the crowds. And number 1 on my list is Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him. There's nobody who's been more over in the last 5 to 10 years than Bryan Danielson. I mean, this is a guy who the fans got behind so much that they caused Vince McMahon to change his WrestleMania plans, which has never happened before and probably will never happen again. But so yeah, that's the number 1 guy that I'm bringing into my company is Bryan Danielson. Next, I think a no-brainer would be AJ Styles. This is a guy that's known all over the world, highly respected, has been a world champion pretty much everywhere he's gone, and right now has held the WWE Championship for almost a year. And for a guy who is not a WWE created star, so to speak, to hold the title for that length of time really, I think, says something about AJ. Next, another one, again, a no-brainer, is Kenny Omega. I mean, right now, one of the best, if not the best wrestler in the world right now, the IWGP champion, and the guy really can do no wrong. I've never seen a bad Kenny Omega match. And, anybody who says they wouldn't want this guy in their wrestling company, well, then you probably shouldn't have a wrestling company. Next, number 4 on my list, current NWA World Heavyweight Champion Cody Rhodes. Just what Cody has done since leaving WWE. Leaving the WWE was his choice. He thought he could do better on his own, and a lot of people thought he was crazy, and he proved them all wrong. I mean, look at what he's done just in the last year. He's currently holding 3 championships: the NWA World title, the IWGP United States title, and the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team title with the Young Bucks. I mean, he has grown by leaps and bounds since leaving the WWE, and he's done it, he's made his own name all over the world. And, he is probably one of the hardest working guys in pro wrestling right now. And, he's another one. He really, at this point, can do no wrong. He is just over like crazy anywhere that he goes. And, he's definitely one that I would build my company around given the opportunity. 5th guy on my list that, I want as part of my core group of wrestlers. To me, strictly my opinion, he is the guy right now. He is the best in the world. He's been in the business for decades at this point, and he shows no signs of slowing down. He's in better shape now than I think he was, early on in his career, and just continues to go out there and reinvent himself and stay relevant, and the fans just go nuts for him anytime he shows up. And that's Chris Jericho, the current IWGP Intercontinental Champion. So that's the five men that I'd be building my company around. Go through them real quick one more time: Bryan Danielson, AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, and Chris Jericho. I mean, with that as the core of your men's division, you're right there. You're guaranteeing packed houses pretty much every night with those 5 guys on the card. Moving on to the women, 5 women that I would use as the core of my women's division. First one is Asuka. I really am not too impressed with how she's been used on Smackdown since she moved up, or more specifically since she suffered her first loss to Charlotte at WrestleMania. They haven't done too much with her, and I'm really kind of bummed out about that, because I think Asuka is one of the top female wrestlers in the world. She held the NXT Women's title for a ridiculous amount of time, almost 2 years. You don't see title reigns that long anymore, ever, anywhere. So, I'm hoping that they'll start to kind of push her back up and get her back in the women's title picture, because that's definitely where she belongs. But as for me, yeah, she would be my number one pick for building a women's division. Next would be the one who gave Asuka her first defeat, and that's Charlotte Flair. She has the Flair last name, and that in and of itself is a draw, but she has proved time and time again that she did not get to where she's at just based on her name. She is one of the best in-ring performers in WWE right now. And notice, I'm not saying one of the best female performers in WWE. No, I'm saying she's one of the best performers in WWE. Male, female, doesn't matter. She is one of the best. Consistently puts on fantastic matches no matter who she's in the ring with. Always makes her opponent look good. I mean, this is stuff that she, I would say probably inherited from her father, but her, always puts on a great match, always makes her opponents look good, just like Ric Flair always did. And, as young as she is, and for as short of a time as she's been in the business, she's already a 7-time world champion. So that's that in and of itself right there makes me say, yes, I want her on my women's roster without a doubt. Next is the current Raw Women's Champion, Ronda Rousey. I know some of you guys probably roll your eyes at that one, but you can't deny the fact, number one, she's a fantastic athlete. Number two, she is a huge draw. I mean, she's known pretty much everywhere. She is one of the best in the world as far as MMA, and she's becoming very good in pro wrestling. She has made the transition almost seamlessly, and not a lot of people can do that. There's been a number of people that tried to move from other sports into pro wrestling and just weren't real successful at it. But Ronda Rousey is making it look easy. And so that right there tells me she's extremely dedicated. She loves what she's doing. She loves pro wrestling, and how could you not want somebody like that on your roster? It's simple as that. Next, and I know this women's roster has been kind of WWE centric so far, but I'm about to get away from that. The next one that I would want for my women's division is Taya Valkyrie. She, spent a lot of time in Mexico, and has held the Mexican the AAA Women's Championship. For I believe she holds a record for how long she held that title, and that in and of itself, her being Canadian to hold the a Mexican championship for that long just tells you the kind of respect that they have for her down there, and also speaks to her work ethic as well. She again, another one who's very dedicated, just kind of immersed herself in the lucha libre style, and has become one of the top female wrestlers in the world. And again, how could you not want somebody like that on your roster? And the last one, the fifth woman that I would want for my women's roster is Tessa Blanchard, current Impact Women's Champion, another second generation star, just like Charlotte. And it is kind of one reason I want both Charlotte and Tessa Blanchard is to have. That's Ric Flair and Tully Blanchard's daughters. How could you not, see the potential for either matches against each other or putting them together as a team? And, again, Tessa Blanchard, I've had the opportunity to see her wrestle live, and she's fantastic. Women's wrestling in general right now has come so far from what it was even just 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. And it's just going to keep growing and keep getting better. So I think these 5 women are the ones that I would put on my roster to take, my women's division and put it on the same level as the men's division. And it's not going to be an afterthought. It's going to be, people. I want people to look forward to the women's match. The women's championship match just as much as the men's championship match. I want to be able to put the women's title match as the main event on one of my pay-per-views or multiple pay-per-views, whatever it may be. I want to have to sit down and struggle to think, oh man, what match am I going to put on last? Am I going to put, AJ Styles versus Christopher Danielson, or am I going to put Charlotte Flair versus Tessa Blanchard? And I mean, that is not a bad problem to have, to try to make that kind of decision. So run back through one more time here my 5 women that I would build my women's division around: Asuka, Charlotte, Ronda Rousey, Taya Valkyrie, and Tessa Blanchard. I don't think you can go wrong with any of those 5 women. Now moving on to tag teams. I'm picking what I think are the 5 best tag teams in wrestling right now. And they're, probably my 5 favorites too, so I'm sure that has something to do with why I'm picking them. But first of all, the first team that I want is the Revival. To me, they're still, they're the best tag team in WWE. Even though they're not promoted as such, they're not consistently in the title picture, they're not consistently involved in big storylines. They're such a throwback to teams like Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, and they're just, like I said, to me, they are the best tag team in WWE right now, and I would take them over anybody else there. Next on my list, probably the best tag team in the world right now. I don't think many people would argue, the Young Bucks. I know they just recently lost the IWGP tag team titles, but again, these guys, just like Cody Rhodes, have built their names themselves, have never been part of the WWE machine. They've spent a little bit of time at Impact, but for the most part, they have built their entire careers on their own between New Japan, Ring of Honor, other independents that they wrestle for. They just their work ethic is second to none, and their in-ring work is insane. I mean, the first opportunity I had to see them live was at All In last month, and I was blown away by these guys. They're, like I said, to me, the best tag team in the world. Anybody who's running a wrestling company, I'm sure, even right now, knowing that their contracts are coming up soon, is doing anything and everything they can to say, please come and wrestle for me. So third on my list is the current Ring of Honor tag team champions, the Briscoes. They're just rather unorthodox team. Definitely what I would consider brawlers in the ring, but also, have a great. I like their style. I like their wrestling style. They're 9-time Ring of Honor champions, and these are young guys, and still have quite a bit of a career ahead of them. And of the matches I've seen of theirs, every single time I'm entertained, whether they're baby faces, heels. They go in there and give it everything that they've got every single time. And I would again, at first chance I got to see them live was at All In, and these are guys that I could see. Well, not even that I could see, guys that are consistently in the World Tag Team title picture for Ring of Honor, and would be for, I would think, any company they wrestle for. Next on my list might raise a couple eyebrows, but the Killer Elite Squad, Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smith Jr., former IWGP Tag Team Champions, former NWA World Tag Team Champions, and just a great team. I mean, another kind of a throwback team. With Davey Boy Smith Jr. Has a lot of his father's attributes as far as his physical appearance, his in-ring work, and Lance Archer. I've been a fan of his since he was in TNA or Impact or whatever you want to call it now. But just a team that I personally really enjoy, and I would love to have them, as part of my roster for my company. And another team that could consistently, believably be always in the tag team title picture. And the fifth team, rounding out my tag team division for the ones that I would build my company around, the Gorillas of Destiny, current IWGP Tag Team Champions, defeated the Young Bucks for it just recently here. Members of the Bullet Club, or the Firing Squad now, I guess is what they're called. Kind of broke away from Cody and the Bucks. So the whole Bullet Club Civil War kind of going on now, and with them capturing the IWGP Tag Team titles, I'd say they're they've definitely won the first battle of that war, and I'm really interested to see where it's going to go from here. So who else they might get on their side and things like that, but they would be a definite asset to any company, any tag team division that they're a part of. So so my tag team division, I'll run them back down one more time. The Revival, the Young Bucks, the Briscoes, Killer Elite Squad, and the Gorillas of Destiny. So that's that is the 5 men, 5 women, and 5 tag teams that I would build a wrestling company around today. Obviously there's so many other people I could have put on this list. I mean, I actually wrote down 20 names for each category and just kind of had to narrow it down. I mean, names like Kazuchika Okada, Marty Scurll, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, John Hennigan, Shane Strickland, Chelsea Green, Tony Storm, Shayna Baszler, Casey Catanzaro, Nia Jax, Mia Yim. I mean, the Bar, Beer Money, Undisputed Era, Lucha Brothers, British Strong Style. So many wonderful, amazingly talented wrestlers, male and female, and tag teams out there. It was really, really hard to narrow it down to just 5 in each category. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think I should swap somebody out? Maybe somebody shouldn't be in there. You have maybe you don't think I should have Bryan Danielson in there because of his injury history. Who do you think should be there instead? Or maybe you don't think Killer Elite Squad would be a good top tier tag team. Who do you think would be better in that position? Leave me some comments. Drop me an email. Whatever you want to do. Let me know. Who would you build your company around? What men, women, and tag teams would you use? Would you maybe you like the Bludgeon Brothers. Maybe you think they should be in there, or War Machine, War Raiders, whatever you want to call them. That's pretty much all I got for this week. Make sure you're subscribing and following the show on Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, any place you find your podcasts, and make sure you're subscribing, rating if that's an option on whatever platform you're using. I've got to say thank you to everybody who's been checking the show out so far. I was looking at my show stats recently. I've even got some listeners in Japan and Australia and in Europe and Sweden, and that just kind of blows me away that people that far away are actually checking the show out. I mean, it's not like I've got hundreds of listeners, but that's okay. I'm building it up. I'm trying to grow here. So thank you so much to everybody who's checked it out. Please, if you like the podcast, share it with your friends. Let them know. Let them know to come check the show out. And if you ever want to drop me an email, it's catchhookshoot@gmail.com. Like I said, my name is Tom. I will try to remember to introduce myself at the beginning of every show from now on, because, like I said, I want you to know who you're listening to. But that's pretty much all I got for this week. So hope everybody has a good week, and I will be talking to you guys next Sunday. So I will I'm gonna sign off, and I will talk to you guys soon.